Hey, what's up guys? It's Yeti here. Today's video we'll be talking about how I geared up a character really fast in the War Within and how you can gear it up as well. This is for people that are either gearing up an alt or are late to the War Within. Realistically, you're not really late. But yeah, I'll try to show you how to maximize your, week one or, maybe depends on when you started gearing up. Basically the earliest week or weeks of your character in the War Within. So I made a Death Knight and I leveled up a fresh character and I dinged yesterday. So I want to show you guys how I got literally the most gear in day one. Just to give you an idea, this video will be like in a few sections and I'll try to just give bullet points. You do not need to follow it in the exact same order that I did, but that's just kind of how I structure this video. So for step number one, and this is something a lot of you guys know, is you get a guaranteed heroic craft through the story mode, or you can also do the raid in any other way. There's currently a quest that opened up on this week where you kill the final boss of the raid, and it gives you a heroic craft for any of your spark items. So for those of you who do not know, you pick up this quest by interacting with the little spider in Dornegal. But there is a bit of a problem with this quest. You actually need to do the entire story prior to picking up this quest. So if you have an alt and you skipped all the quests, you will sadly have to go and redo all these quests before you getting your heroic craft. Heroic craft is basically a guaranteed way to get a decently high item level piece. But if you are just giving up a fresh character and you're like not sure if you want to go back and do the whole story for this one specific item, I would recommend you to wait a little bit. But if this is your first character, if this is actually your main, I would recommend you to just pick up this quest and then go into story mode of the raid, which is like a very easy way to kill the last boss. You get AI companions with you. You do not need to, form a group or look up at a guide. It's like no stress. It's pretty easy. It's pretty free. And once you kill this spider, you will still get the rewards. You'll get the heroic crafts for free without having to do the entire raid, without having to either host a run or join a run of normal/heroic on the last boss. So step two in this video is going to be time walking. This is not specific to time walking. It's actually going to be about all the weekly calendar events in World of Warcraft. But let's just start talking about time walking here. So I specifically focused on time walking because that is the event that is active right now. If you're watching this video in a few days of the release, this will apply to you. But if you're also watching it in 14-day intervals after the video, it's also going to make sense. Let's talk about why. So I cleared Black Temple, which gives you a chance at normal champion track gear of from every single boss, and it guarantees you a heroic piece at the end via the quest. You will also get one guaranteed normal piece from the weekly event, which can be seen on the calendar, and you pick up this quest in Dornegal. Similar events to time walking. In this case, it was TBC, but similar events to time walking can be found on the calendar, and they are usually the PvE versions are happening every 2 weeks. So for example, we also have the War Within dungeon event or the Delve bonus event, which guarantees you a normal item level item. Very often, some rules apply to these. They cannot be very rare items or they cannot be tier items, but I'm not fully sure about that, but I'm almost sure that you cannot get tier. The way I queued up for time walking and the way I did time walking is I just went to Shatra. I used a group finder to find a full clear of Black Temple, which took roughly 45 minutes, and that guaranteed me 3 items. You can either host your own group or just join a group in the group finder. It does not matter. You can do it in complete meme gear. It is all scaled. So you just go to Shatra, you talk to an NPC, it queues you up, teleports your team there. All right, so step 3 is going to be very simple, and you should definitely try your luck with the world boss. A world boss can drop 603 champ track gear. It is very low chance, but you might get it if you're lucky enough. If you're not going to get lucky with the world boss, you can also do all the world quests, and some of these will actually give pretty decent items. For example, on my DK, I just ended up doing a lot of world quests to fill up my slots where I did not get any gear from, the dungeons before when I was leveling or from the raid. So step 4 are going to be reputation items. These are actually huge. This is something new they added to the War Within, and it's very, Warbount, which means that if you have a main, if you're gearing an alt, this is where you're going to see a massive boost on your second, third, fourth character, etc. So if you already have a main and you have completed all the quests and grinded some reputation, you can just walk up to each quartermaster in the 4 factions in the War Within. You will collect a ton of crests, valor stones, and other useful resources. You can also buy a 1 out of 8 veteran track gear, which is purple gear, at the item level 584 for 2,600 resonant crystals. You have to keep in mind that resonance crystals are actually warbound, so you can transfer them in your currency menu from one character to another. So if you have a main that does, probably not need these items anymore, you can just transfer over and purchase that on any alt. If you are on a fresh character and you are a first-time player, I would highly recommend you to get rid of all the exclamation marks on the screen to get your character reputations up, or your account reputations up, as soon as possible. Also, quick shout out here to an add-on called Chore Tracker. I made a video about this recently. If you want to, make sure you are min-maxed, but in a casual way, and you do all the weekly, daily activities in this game, I recommend you to check out that add-on and just, make sure to read the chores that are listed on there every single week. And that way you will get, a ton of these resonance crystals and valor stones and, even some craft materials, etc. Step 5 is going to be crafting. So you actually get 606 base item level. That is the highest quality of the craft, but that is just the spark without any other additional materials. You are currently, by the time of making this video, you can craft 2 items and get 1 more half of a spark for later. So in next week, you can actually craft 3 items. One of these sparks, these mentioned sparks, can be turned into a heroic piece by doing the step 1 quest that I mentioned. The second spark can be turned into heroic by, getting one of the major reputations high enough to get a heroic reward. That is what they call it. Or you can also actually craft these items to increase the item level of your crafts in other way that I'll talk about later. 590 is also the item level of crafts without sparks. So if you want to just make an item without a spark, but you want to put it on embellishment because maybe you already used your sparks, you can also do that. And you can also craft PvP conquest gear, which goes to 610. So if you talk to the conquest vendor and you buy the conquest item that increases the quality of your crafts, those can go to 610 in PvE, but I would actually not recommend you to do this. This is kind of for advanced players, right? Of course, you can also exchange normal crafts for crafting. You have to go to the bench where you send out public work orders. These can be quite expensive. And then you're going to be getting the heroic or the mythic item level on a craft. This is the only way, by the way, you will be able to get 636 item level, which is the highest item level for a craft. You will be able to do this by turning the mythic version of Crests, the item that is applied to a spark, then increases the item level of the item. And just a quick note, when I'm talking about these heroic, mythic, etc., these item levels, I'm actually referring to, they kind of have quirky names. Right now, the mythic version of crests are called gilded. I call them mythic because they drop from the mythic rate and they drop from +9 or higher keystones. Then we have the runed, which I call the heroic crests. These drop from mythic +4 to +8, and from the heroic raid, as the name implies. And then you also have the carved, which are the normal raid. The normal raid crests that drop from obviously normal raid and mythic 0 dungeons. And once you get these crests, they can be turned into the enchanted version, which complements your craft. So for example, if we start with gilded, the mythic version, that's the highest one, it makes your craft's max item level to be 636. If we're talking about heroic, the max item level of that one is the 619. That's the one you can get for free from either the storyline or from getting your reputation up. And then we have the weathered, which is the the normal version, which goes to item level 590, which is lower than the spark, because the weathered, the normal version of the crests, can be used with items that do not require a spark. So if you're crafting something for stats, or, you know, maybe you are missing an embellishment because you replaced your craft with a much better item, you can use Weathered Crest to get a 590 item level embellishment somewhere up, because, you know, potentially the embellishment still adds a lot more damage to your character. Crafting in World of Warcraft is a lot, you know, more advanced than I made it in this video. I was just trying to give you the highest item level. If you want to know what to actually craft for your class, I highly recommend it to just look up the WoW head of your guide. For example, Blood DK WoW head. Just Google that. You will find a guide. And in the gear tab of the guide, you will actually find usually the recommended best crafts for your class. And these are the ones you should be crafting first with embellishments, obviously. And then these are probably the ones you should be using the heroic runed version of the crests as soon as possible to get them to item level 619. And of course, your last step is going to be heroics, M0s, and M+. Once you are, you know, you applied all of the previous steps and you are decently geared, you can, you know, try doing content that is repeatable and even, you know, Mythic Plus scales infinitely. This is sadly where your skill and your role are going to dictate your climb. So if you're a new player, I would recommend you to take it easy. Don't rush too far ahead. But if you're an alt or if you're a tank player, I mean, you can probably jump to Mythic Plus 2s already at very, very low item level. For example, my Blood DK got accepted into a +2 at like 565 item level, which is a little bit ridiculous. But I decided to just take it easy there instead as well. You know, I would recommend you to run heroics or mythic zeros first, because they can be done on very, very low item level, sub 600 item level gear. And after that, you can kind of dictate your pace depending on how well you're doing and if you have a pre-made and if you're an alt, etc. Right? Also, I would like to talk about the catalyst here. So catalyst is a system to turn your gear, it can just be normal gear from the dungeon or from the raid, into tier set gear. And you will always want to be running 4 set on your character. And I would recommend you to actually use catalyst charges on either heroic or mythic item level gear, because it's almost always worth to get the 4 set before trying to min-max with the stats or trying to min-max the item level all the way. And heroic item level is, in my opinion, good enough to pretty much clear all the content. So yeah, just to give you an idea, if you do not have any heroic item level pieces, so if you're not running the heroic raid or high enough keys, I would recommend you to wait with the charges a little bit. So then you're gonna get 2 charges in the next week, and you will get 1 token by getting either Keystone Master, I believe it's 2000 rating, or killing the last boss on heroic difficulty, or getting, I think it's 1600 PvP rating. And then this will give you the 3rd item. So basically, you just need a little bit of luck, you know, in either the previous weeks, if you already had, or in the vault coming next week, or if you're running the raid on normal LFR, mythic, whatever, you know, you basically need to get 1 item that will guarantee you a tier piece. And then you just need to use Catalyst on 2 items that you can get from Mythic Plus if you're running high enough keys. And then you use your Omni token for the last piece. And that's how you can also guarantee your 4 set. That's kind of the philosophy I apply, you know, when I'm trying to build set. Because I got lucky from Vault. I got 1 set from Vault. I used Catalyst on my chest piece to have 2 set. So now I will get the Omni token this week, and then next week Catalyst opens and I can Catalyst the last piece and get 4 set guaranteed. So that's kind of how it goes. Anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. If you want to see more videos like that, please press subscribe. I'll try to put out as many videos as I can in the following weeks, because this has been really, really fun, and you guys have been, you know, delivering so much support in the comments and joining my Discord all the time. Yeah, that being said, if you want to, you know, discuss any of my videos more in detail, or if you have recommendations, my Discord is linked down below. And as always, thank you for watching and have a nice day.